and welcome. My name is Jocelyn and today we are doing a very exciting video for several reasons. First of all, I have had this video on my to film list for so long and I'm finally doing it and I'm so excited. So I have a decently sized makeup collection. I don't think I have a huge collection, but I have a fair amount of stuff. I am a makeup focused channel, so it kind of comes with the gig. But I absolutely love watching minimalist makeup collection videos. I love to see a super curated and well-loved and well-used makeup collection. So I thought to myself, what would that look like for me? Out of all of the stuff that I have currently in my makeup collection, what if I pared it down, really stripped it down to see what core products, if I were to have a minimalist makeup collection, what would that look like? What would those core products be? So I did that. And I have all of the products here in this bag. It's a little too full that it doesn't quite close all the way, but almost. This is, I feel like this is a decent bag. If it was a little bit bigger, it would probably close because like, it's close, it's close there. I'm gonna share with you my minimalist makeup collection, should I have one. I don't have one and I probably won't as long as I do YouTube, but I'm going to share with you my core products. Before we get into that, another super exciting thing is this video is sponsored. My first ever sponsorship, and I could not be more excited. I'm excited because I've had several companies reach out to me asking about sponsorship and collaboration opportunities, but none of them felt right until this one. And one of the reasons for that is they're very reputable to me because I've seen other creators collaborate with them, and I also just really love what they sell, their products, and more importantly, the message behind the brand. So today's video is sponsored by Luisa. Luisa is a jewelry brand and they reached out to me and asked if they could sponsor videos, so here we are. They did send me a few pieces of jewelry to try out and I have been wearing those pieces for the last about a month to get a feel for how they wear, how they feel, how they work, and how they look. And let me tell you, I have not stopped wearing them. I am wearing them in this video today. More on that in a second. Like I mentioned, I really stand behind this brand. Two of their main focuses is sustainability and responsibility, which is huge. While being responsible and sustainable, they make really good quality pieces at a fair price. So there's not a huge luxury markup, even though you're getting a really nice piece of jewelry. The pieces start at $39 and go up. All of the jewelry that I received is under $100, so that's pretty great. They use only 100% recycled 14 karat gold, which is part of their whole sustainability and responsibility, and they use only noble metals, so they are not prone to tarnish and they're gonna last you a long time, which is something really important. If you're gonna spend some money on a good quality piece, you want it to last a long time and look good throughout the course of its life. Another really awesome thing that they're doing is they are working to have a net zero carbon footprint by the end of 2020, which is huge for the environment. I wish that more companies would do stuff like this, would just be a lot more ecologically focused so that they're not leaving a huge impact on our environment. So most exciting part, well, what pieces did they send me? So I'm wearing all three pieces they sent. They did send three things. They have a lot of dainty products, which is what I primarily go for. I like dainty jewelry, dainty, delicate jewelry, but they do have some more bold jewelry. So bold metals, and I'll pop some pictures on the screen if you want to see what I'm talking about. So they have more delicate options and they also have more bold options if you like that a little bit more. I personally like things a little more delicate, which is what I'm going to show you today. So the first of which is the ring that I am wearing right here. This is the Palace Deep Blue ring. This is my most expensive piece. This runs $75, but it does have the gold band on it and then the blue crystal in the middle. I tend to wear this on my pointer finger along with my middle finger. I like it on both those fingers. I do wear a size 7, but they do, I think their sizes usually go from a size 4 up to a size 10, so a pretty good range if you ask me, and I just love the way it looks. It's statement enough that you can wear it on its own, or you can also pair it with smaller pieces or even bigger pieces. I love this. I wake up in the morning, pop my wedding band on, and pop this on about every single day because it's just so comfortable because the band is so thin. I really love this one. Now the next two pieces are further up on my body. The first of which is the choker that I'm wearing right now, and they have a ton of different options for chokers and then also deeper necklaces. I'm a big fan of these delicate chokers like this that rest kind of on the collarbone, and this is the Anna Rose Gold choker. They have this also in silver and in gold, but I really love rose gold. It's probably my favorite kind of metal. This one does retail for $49. It's so dainty, it's so comfortable. It's a small chain with little balls on it, so it has just kind of an extra little oomph. It's not just a chain, so I really love that. It's just enough of an accent to draw attention to it, and it also is extendable in the back, so it's not just one size. So that is the Anna choker. Really love this piece. And then last, I have some earrings that I'm wearing. These are the Georgia hoop earrings, and these also retail for $49. I love these. These, although I've worn the ring the most, these I think were what I was most excited to receive, and I love them because they're just so pretty and feminine. They're little hoops, which I love. They're not too big that they kind of drag the earlobe down. They're very lightweight, and I love that the little disc that hangs off of it is a pressed, so it's not just a plain disc. It does have some pressing in there, or stamping. I'm not totally sure what the correct term is, but I think that they're so pretty. They're so comfortable. So these are the 3 pieces that they sent me. I really love all of them. I've been wearing them non-stop for the last month. Even though I've just been at home, I've been wearing them at home. Right now they are doing Mother's Day sales. You can buy one, get one 35% off on their website. I will have all 3 pieces and the website linked down below for ease. I think that is everything that I wanted to tell you. Thank you so much to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. All right, now that we've gotten our lovely sponsor out of the way, let's move on to the products that would be in my minimalist makeup collection. Here we are. I have this little circular table that sits in my beauty room that I thought we would use. I really like these kinds of videos in a POV sort of fashion. So I'm gonna pull out the items in my bag one at a time and talk through why I chose that item, and, you know, maybe give some swatches, which is another good reason to do it this way. Let's put this off to the side and we'll just start pulling something one at a time. I will note that most items I only have one of. There are a couple categories where I did pull a couple for that category, but we'll talk through that when we get there. So the first thing, a brow product. I absolutely need a brow product, and I usually use currently 2 different products for my brows. I use this right here. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pomade in taupe, and then I also usually use a pencil by ABH in the shade taupe. So I use 2 different products, but I think that I could probably get away with just using this one and just go a little lighter on the front half of my brow, which is where I usually use the pencil. And let's see, so you can see on the inside here, this is very, very well loved and used. Another reason that I think I would love to use just this product is this takes quite a while to get used up. These last typically longer than the pencils do, and so I would, you know, not need to purchase this one as much as the pencils. So this is our first item. We'll go ahead and put this over here. Sticking with eyes, currently I'm only using this right here. This is the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. Now this is a deluxe size, but it kind of just represents me only having one mascara at a time. I don't usually have more than one mascara open at a time. Sometimes it's a deluxe size, sometimes it's a full size, but if I was in that minimalist position, maybe having this. Also, I could see myself just repurchasing the Essence Lash Princess mascara because that's inexpensive and it works just so well. I would probably have that, but this is the one that I have right now. It's also a deluxe size, so it's smaller, which is kind of nice. Sticking with eyes again, we do have an eyeliner. So I currently am using a couple different eyeliners, but this one right now is my favorite. This is the Beauty Bakery Lollipop Liner. I really like this, and I definitely think that I would only need one eyeliner at a time, and then once it dries up, I could swap it out for another one that I know and love. This one though, like I said, I really, really like this. Here's a kind of a look at what the pin looks like if you've never seen it before. Also, primer. So I am a die-hard user of eyeshadow primer. I do not think that this is something I could go without. I just don't think that concealer works the same. Some people might argue that their concealer works just fine as an eyeshadow primer, but I strongly disagree. This one right here, the Milani eyeshadow primer, works really well, and it's from the drugstore, so I could probably get away with just repurchasing this once I run out of it. But like I said, I would only need one of them, but I do think that this is something I need in my collection. All right, we're gonna skip over eyeshadow for now. Let's move on to base. So I think I would only need one concealer at a time, and out of all of the ones in my collection right now, this is the one that I would hold on to. This is the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Complete Coverage Serum Concealer. I have mine in the shade Fair. I really like this. It offers a good amount of coverage, but it's not heavy or cakey. If I wanted to, I could only use this and skip foundation if I was going for a look that was a little more natural. So this would be a really good option to have for pairing with foundation, but also wearing on its own. So I really like this one, and that is why that would be the one to stay. Next, moving on to foundation. So this was kind of hard. I almost picked a different one, but I decided on this one because it looks good, I would say 99% of the time. Summer, fall, winter, spring, it works really well for my skin type. And the winner is the Fenty foundation. I know this doesn't work for everybody, but it works so well on me. There's a good amount of coverage. It's not cakey. It's about medium coverage. I think that you could build it up to full coverage, but I usually just go ahead and stick with the medium coverage and then might dot on some concealer if I need to. But I think I could get away with just this because it works every time, and I do really like it. Okay. So, got my foundation and concealer. Now, I have a very oily skin type, so I do need to set, which means I would need a powder. And the one I'm about to show you, I really like because it works well on my skin, and it's a pretty compact container. And so, sticking with the Fenty theme, I chose this one right here. So this is actually a deluxe size of her Pro Filter powder. I have mine in the shade Butter. So this isn't even a full size. The full size I think is quite a bit bigger, but I like this one because there's still a lot of product in here. Let me see. There's 7.8 grams. This is gonna take me a while to go through. I still have probably, I mean, it's gonna be, well, yeah, you can kind of see right there. I still have about half of it left, and I've used this quite a bit, so this would last me a long time, but it's not a super bulky, super chunky packaging, and out of all of the powders that I have right now, this would be the one to keep. If you're familiar with my collection, you probably know that I really don't have a lot of bronzers and contour shades. I have some in face palettes, but I only have one individual bronzer contour shade. Fortunately, it's one that I really, really love, and should I include it in my minimalist collection, it would last me for a very long time. And it is this one right here. It is the Mac Daddy Marc Jacobs Tantastic Bronzer. This is a huge pan. This is what the inside looks like. It is very large and domineering, but you know, I think that this is a product that just works so well for me all times of the years. The formula is fantastic. There is a lot of product in here, so I think that it makes sense that this would be my choice. I mean, I don't really have much of a choice because there's not another single bronzer or contour that I have in my collection, but I love this so much, and I would be totally fine with just using this for a very, very, very long time. So there is my bronzer. Next, we have blush. So blush is a color product that really you can have a lot of, but I think that I could get away with just having one. Part of that is because I don't experiment too much with color on my cheeks, but also I might be able to get away with using some of my eyeshadows as blushes. So the one that I chose is one that works with a lot of different eyeshadow looks, which I think is one of the most important parts, and I chose the Hourglass. Ooh, quite reflective. So I chose this Hourglass blush. This is in the shade Mood Exposure. It's this really nice neutral, it's like a peachy pink. It's probably a little more peachy than it is pink, but it's just, it's a perfect tone for my skin to just add the right amount of flush. And I think I could get away with just using this because it's, again, pretty neutral, that it would work with a lot of different eyeshadow looks. All right, next. So turns out this minimalist collection is kind of Fenty heavy. I mean, we have, I guess we only have two products so far, but now we have another one. So we're moving on to highlight. Highlight is something where I like pinker tones and I also like warmer tones, and I switch between the two. Fortunately, I have a highlight that's got both of those tones in it, and it is this highlight right here. So this is the Fenty Beauty highlight in the shade Fire Crystal and Lightning Dust. I've mentioned it before, but this is one of my favorite products in my collection. You can see that I've already hit pan on one of these sides because I've used it so much. This has never been in a project pan, but I just like it that much. On this side, we do have a warmer toned highlight, and then on this side, we have a pinkier highlight. So this would be the perfect thing for me to have and only have this. And I also could use this as a highlighter on my inner corner, my brow bone. I could use this all over the eye if I wanted to. It's a really, really lovely product, and I've talked and raved about these plenty of times. So there is my highlighter. Okay, what do we have left? I think we just have eyes and lips left. Let's start with eyes. Oof. Eyes and lips are two products in my collection that I have a ton of, and it was really hard to narrow down to the core eyeshadow products that I would want. So I do have 2 palettes and 2 single shadows. Some of you might think that that's too much for a minimalist makeup collection, but let me kind of explain why I chose each of these. So the first is kind of my base palette that I chose, and the reason I chose this is, well, first of all, this is a newer-ish palette to my collection, but it's got a really good mix of neutral colors. It's got some really good warm tones. It's got a really good combination of mattes and shimmer shades, and a lot of shades that I use regularly. I decided that one of my 2 palettes is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. Now, this might be surprising for some of you because this is kind of newer to my collection, but I was looking at all of my palettes and really just felt like this would be one that I could use consistently and a lot and not really get bored of it, especially in combination with the other products that I'll talk about. This is what the inside looks like. So like I said, we have a really good array of shimmer shades and matte shades. We have some deeper colors over here where I could get something a little more glam but also soft glam. On this side, really good, like a brow bone highlight. This is the palette I chose. I really, really like this palette, and like, you know, I feel like I kind of explained already why I chose this. So we're gonna go ahead and prop it off to the side. And the next palette I chose because one of my favorite eyeshadow tones, along with just warm tones, is berry tones. And there's not a ton of berries in here. Really, the only one is kind of, well, it's actually out of frame. This shade right here, which is Mulberry, that's kind of the only berry tone in this palette, and I wear berries a lot. So I thought a really good addition to my minimalist collection would be this palette right here. So this is the Dose of Colors Blushing Berries palette. I travel with this so much. I get so much use out of it. It is an all matte palette and just has some really delicious mattes in it. The only thing that's a little disappointing would be that there's a black in here and there's also a black in this palette. That's okay. It's like one overlapping shade. This Mulberry shade is very different from the darker shades in here. I mean, I probably could get away with saying that this one is very similar to this one, but these 3 shades right here are the ones that I use the most out of this palette, and I just think that this palette in combination with this palette would do me good. Like, this would be the essential of what I would need if I wasn't doing, you know, the fun creative makeup looks. I could survive off of these 2 palettes. So we're gonna go ahead and prop this right there. Okay, so I got my 2 palettes. This is it. I thought about bringing in some colorful shades because I do like to play around with blues and greens, but if I'm trimming it down and I'm only keeping something like this, I just don't think that I would play around with colors. So we're not gonna bring in any of the fun colors. I do, like I said, have 2 single shadows that I'm bringing in. The first is a product that I love so much. This was actually, I think, the first thing that I pulled for when I was getting ready for this video, because I knew that this had to be a part of this core collection, and it is an Hourglass Scattered Light eyeshadow. Along with this Fenty highlighter, this is one of my favorite products. So this is in the shade Reflect. I use this all the time. I actually am wearing this today. You can see that I have quite the dip in this already. This is a natural dip. This has never been in a project pan. And I am gonna swatch this on the back of my hand because I swatched quite a few things because I wanted to know how they compared to some of the other products. So before I added these two single shades into this roundup, I did swatch them against the shimmer shades in the palette, the ABH palette, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't duplicating. So there is the look at that. There is the Hourglass shadow. It's just such a beautiful color. I wear it so often and I love it. I also wanted to swatch this color right here in the ABH palette. This is the shade Rose Pink. It's kind of, you know, it kind of gives off a similar tone, but it is a lot darker than the Hourglass shade. So there it is right there. And then I also swatched the Fenty highlighter to make sure that these shades weren't the same. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so I have both the Fenty highlighters on both ends. You can see that they're very, very different. Now on to my very last eyeshadow product. So something that was missing between these two palettes and this single shadow was a taupe shimmer, which I could pair with some of the shades in this palette. And I wear taupey shimmer shades pretty frequently all over the lid, and that was missing. So another one of my favorites, and also a pretty old product in my collection, is this single shadow right here. Probably could have depotted this a long time ago, but I just like having it in this little package. So this is a Tarte metallic shadow in the shade Poker Face, and this is what it looks like. So let me give it a swatch along with our other shades. Here, we'll swatch it right here. So as you can see, quite a difference between all of those. I mean, they're all a light shimmer color, but they're definitely all different tones and all winners, all ones that I wouldn't want to be without. I'll also swatch Sultry real fast just in case you're curious how that compares to Poker Face. Obviously much darker, also much more brown. Look at that. All right, so we are almost done. All we have left are lips, and I did choose 3 lip products. And I chose these lip products based on ones that I already really love wearing, I always reach for, and that fit with the color stories that I had going on with my eyeshadow palettes. So there are 2 different formulas that I chose from, and if you're familiar with my channel, these aren't gonna surprise you. And it's these 2 formulas right here. So I have the ColourPop Luxe lipstick formula and the Tarte Color Splash formula. I'm kind of surprised that I was able to narrow it down to just 3. I have quite an extensive lipstick collection and quite a few in both of these categories, but I think if I had to, I could get away with just these 3 shades. So let's start with the most neutral, and the first one we have here is the shade Pinkies Up. It's this neutral nude color. So this is what it looks like, and I am going to swatch these on the back of my hand so you can kind of get a feel for what they look like. There is the shade Pinkies Up. Like I mentioned, a really nice nude neutral color, and I reach for this one quite a lot. And next up we have this one right here. This is the shade Y2K. So this one's a little bit different than Pinkies Up because this is a blur lipstick, but it's, oh my god, it's the most comfortable feeling on the lips, and I love the shade. So it is what I'm wearing today. So this would kind of work for my everyday neutral color, but this one would work for when I want something a little more deep, a little more grungy. I thought about bringing in a red lipstick, but I thought that this could kind of work in that place. And this is what it looks like. So you can kind of see that it's much deeper. So there it is right there. I mean, they do look mildly similar, but they're really not. This one is a lot more rusty, a lot deeper on the lips than Pinkies Up, which is a lot more nude neutral on the lips. So those are the first 2 shades, and the last shade that I wanted to bring in was this Tarte Color Splash lipstick in the shade Beach Waves. Beach Waves is a cool toned grayish color. So both of these first ones are very warm toned, but I do have some cool toned eyeshadows. So the pinks in here, this Tarte eyeshadow, there's definitely a handful of cool tones that I think would need a cool toned lip to go with them. And this is another, obviously, one of my favorites. Kind of a messy swatch on that one, but there is Beach Waves. So there are the 3 lipsticks that I would have in my collection. It's possible maybe that I would want a more pinky toned lipstick, but I really think that I could possibly get away with just these 3. They're formulas that I love, they're shades that I reach for non-stop, and I just love them so much. So this would be my minimalist makeup collection, unless I'm forgetting anything, but I don't think I am. And also, aside from, you know, brushes, there are 2 brushes in here, but I decided not to include brushes because I'm sure this video is going to be long enough. And that is what my collection would look like if I had a minimalist collection based on all of the products that I currently have. I'm pretty pleased with it. It would be fun to maybe do a look with these products or something like that. Also, as my collection changes and adapts, this could look totally different in a year. So maybe I'll make this a yearly occurrence kind of video. I would be very interested to know what your collection would look like if it was a minimalist collection. So let me know down in the comments below. Would you include any of the products that I also included? Also, a reminder and a huge thank you to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. As I mentioned earlier, I will link all of the different items, the ring, the necklace, the earrings, down in the description box, as well as leave a link directly to their website. And don't forget, they are doing a buy one get one 35% off for Mother's Day. So now would be a good time to check it out if you've been thinking about it. And I think that's everything I have for you today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to see more content from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.